Ever. This is Eric Owings. Once
Hello,
again,
everybody.
he's someone that I met online. Today's the first day we met face to face. I seem to come up with these contacts like that. Eric is an enrolled agent, which means he can practice before Internal Revenue for your taxes. I met him because he has an e-book and he advertised it on Facebook, and I signed up and we progressed from there. He's got a lot of tips. He specializes in realtors, right?
That's correct.
Okay. So he's got a lot of tips for you today, and he's under a time constraint, so I'll let him carry on. Thank you, Eric.
My clock starts when you stop, right?
Okay, right.
Thanks, Esther. I really appreciate the opportunity, and thanks for allowing me to buy you all lunch today. I'm very happy to have been invited. As she said, my name's Eric, and I am an enrolled agent. My company is Owings Tax and Accounting, and I'm the president and also the accountant. So I am a virtual holistic accountant, and I do specialize in real estate professionals. What I offer is worry-free tax seasons and a clear picture of where your business position is at any point in the year. Now, I like to start by asking people to imagine a couple of things. First, how would it feel to know that taxes are not going to wipe out your entire savings account every April 15th?
Wonderful.
Good reaction. I'm going to be touching on that in a minute here. Now, take it a step further and think about this for a second. How would you like it if you have thousands of extra dollars in tax savings, to spend on both yourself and your family every single year? Here are the three things I do. First, I get clear on your business position and your tax history. Develop a strategy for organizing your business accounts and your tax planning. And then third, using online tools and technology, create a system that's exactly in sync with your needs. Now, I like to think that what sets me apart from what you may be used to is I am a small business person just like you, and I consider myself the wealth partner for every single client that I currently have. I believe it's a matter of simple empathy, having the same emotional attachment and feeling about your books and taxes as I do my own. Now, I have reviewed a tax return for someone that ended up being my client, and I was able to get her back over half the taxes that she had paid earlier in the year. This is not only part of what I do, but also why I love doing it. So I want to go back to the two things I asked you to imagine. So that's going to touch on the main two topics I'm going to talk about. One is ES and one is SE. So let me start with ES because it's shorter. There's a little voucher form the Internal Revenue Service used to have in paper back before it got prevalent to do it online. It's called the 1040-ES. Basically, this is a way to send your tax payments in if you're a small business person. Now, this may come as a surprise to some people, but the Internal Revenue Service considers themselves a pay-as-you-go system. They actually think you should be paying them all year. If you're a W-2 wage earner, simple. Basically, they've got calculation based on the W-4 you fill out, and you divide that by 24 or however many pay periods there are in the year, and then they basically take that out of your check and you're paying them as you go. You don't have to think about it, and if you over withhold, you get a nice big juicy refund. So small business people, we only have to make 4 payments, but I'm betting that if I ask, and I won't embarrass you by doing that, but most people don't make them, or they're not aware of them, or they come out of school. And I think that college should actually teach more about sales and taxes than they do, unless you're in actual business school. But in any event, a lot of people don't know about this, and I know because when people come to me and ask me to prepare a return for the first time, I would say 9 times out of 10 they've made no ES payments. So now here's the good news. Those 4 payments are due on the 15th of the month in April, June, September, and January. And January 15th is next week. So actually, if you've made no payments up to this point, you've got a golden opportunity to make one now. And the reason you want to think about doing that is if you believe you're going to owe over $1,000 in tax and you go ahead and you file your 1040 in April, and you have, say, $2,000 or $3,000 or more in tax liability, and if you make the kind of money you should be, it should be significantly more than that. You're going to have underpayment penalties, and they go up every year. For some reason, the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act actually accelerated that, where it shouldn't have. But what that basically means is this: if you know you're going to owe, or you have a good feeling you're going to owe over $1,000, or if you're not sure and you'd like to ask somebody to help you figure it out, and you can afford to make a payment after Christmas, it will dramatically reduce or eliminate those underpayment penalties. People don't think of them. The old 1040 had that on line 79. It's crammed down there next to the signature. But often, if you look at your 1040 when you go home, you may see a number that's several $100s. You can avoid paying any of that. And why give them more money than you have to? So that's my bit on ES. Now, the other thing, SE, that's just short for self-employment tax. And there's going to be people in here that already know about this, and one point or another have had somebody recommend that they elect to be taxed as an S corporation. I'll get to that in a minute, but I want to ask a question, a little participation thing here. How many people here either are or believe they should be making $100,000 a year? Raise your hands. Every hand should be up. Every hand should be up. Okay. This works with my hypothetical. Let's say, for example, and I use $100,000 because it's attainable for Colorado realtors. I figured that you can do that with 3 closings a month. And I know some months are slower than others, but you know, that's an average, 36 a year. It is doable if you work it. And I'm not here to judge on that, but I have spoken to a young man that's 22 years old, and he broke out with $100,000 in closings his first year with some good mentorship, so I know it's possible. Okay, so let's say that you are in fact making about 130 to 140 in closings, and after you're a good tax person, got all your deductions written off, you're down to exactly $100,000 in net income. Okay, now that's like the bottom line on a Schedule C, which is attached to your 1040. And I got a couple more minutes, so I'll make this quick. If you have $100,000 in net income, you are paying $14,129 in self-employment tax. That is not income tax, and there is no way to write that off or reduce it. So if you're single, you have a couple deductions, your standard deduction, and you are, as realtors, this is qualified business income, you get to write off 20% of that. So a single person is basically paying tax on $70,000, married filing joint $60,000. Either way, you're around about $25,000 in taxes by the time you add that SE in, as well as your income tax, and that's a quarter of your money. Does that sound like too much? Yeah. So how many people are actually have become an LLC and S Corp? Okay. I want to ask you guys a quick question because my time's running out. How proactive is your accountant? Do you know that you have 28 significant tax events every year? If you don't, that's fine. And you're probably, they may or may not, in most cases probably are, keeping you in minimum compliance. But there's some things that somebody that works with you constantly can help you with. Like making sure that you're making good estimated payments all 4 quarters so it doesn't hurt as much. And then April comes around and you're happy and smiling because you got everything taken care of through the year. And come April, it's basically just a paperwork requirement. And so basically that's, I have a proposal for the way that I run that, which divides those services, everything that I need to do for you in the course of a year, divide that by 12. That's an easy monthly billing, and that is basically how it works. So it's 10 after, and I really appreciate your time and the opportunity to do this. I have several people that joined me on Facebook Live. I'd like to thank you all for joining me too. And you guys, EXP, it's awesome to get a chance to meet so many of you, and I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say. So thank you so much, and let's have an amazing 2020.